Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another 2026 election prediction. But starting off, we're going to cover the 2025 gubernatorial elections in Virginia and New Jersey before we get to the 2026 ones. So we'll start off with the easier state to predict, and that's going to be Virginia. And right now, Winsome Earl Sears, she is running a very bad campaign. She's pretty much very behind in the polling. And the only polls that really have her in contention are the right-leaning pollsters. Every other pollster has her down by quite a bit. So right now, I think Spanberger's on track for a 6% victory against Sears. It could be more than that. But just based off the early polling we have from the race, I don't think that Sears is really in a position to win. So I'm putting this as a likely blue state. This is a big flip for the Democrats, flipping the state from red to blue in terms of its governorship. In New Jersey, this is going to be the more interesting race. This race is going to be more competitive than Virginia will be. But yeah, on the Democratic side, a stronger Democrat won the Democratic primary, so that's good for the Democrats. Going into this general election, based off early polling, Mikey Sherrill has a pretty good advantage going into this. I don't really think Cheryl's going to really lose at this point against Citarelli. But just based off all the polling we've seen so far, Citarelli is definitely down. Even his own pollster here, sponsored by his own campaign, only has him down by 3. They don't even have him leading. And then we have other pollsters independent from the race that aren't really sponsored by either candidate that just have Cheryl up by like 15 points, or no, that'd be 20 points or so. And then we have Sagnal. It's a right-leaning pollster that has her up by 7. So right now I'm putting this race as likely blue. I think it'll be a bit closer than what the polls are saying in New Jersey. Because Citarelli, previously he was down by like 9 in 2021 and he made it a 3-point race. So I do think he's a good candidate for Republicans. But for now I'm putting this as a likely blue state. I think the Democratic nominee, Cheryl, she wins by 5 points in the governor's race in 2025. All right, now that we've done those races, let's get into the safe blue and safe red races for 2026. So Maryland's one of them, and then we do a bunch of safe red states. I don't really think Oklahoma is going to be all that competitive, neither with Florida. I just don't think there isn't any good Democratic candidates in Florida to make that race really competitive. California, that's just a lock. Same with Colorado. I don't really see it getting that competitive. Massachusetts, of course. And I would put Illinois. Pritzker is running for re-election. He won by safe blue margin previously. He's going to do it again. Texas, Greg Abbott's approval rating's decent, so I think he's in for a over 10-point victory as of right now. Alaska's only competitive if Patola decides to run for governor. So for now, with that chance of her maybe running for governor or Senate, I'm going to put this as a lean Republican. However, she does run, I expect to see this as a Democratic flip, because I do think she's a pretty formidable candidate for Alaska. But since she hasn't announced yet, we're putting it as lean Republican. Oh yeah, Vermont, this is just a safe red state. Phil Scott's most likely running for re-election as of right now. I don't think he's going to really lose this race, so I'm putting that as safe Republican. In Connecticut, Democratic governor, pretty sure he's running for re-election as of right now. I'm putting that as safe blue. He has a pretty high approval rating, and I think we could get into these states. So starting off, we're going to start off with some other likely states, starting off with Rhode Island. The current incumbent Democratic governor, Rhode Island, has an abysmal approval rating because of corruption scandals. He's most likely going to get primaried out of this race. But for now, because of an abundance of caution, I'm putting this state as a likely blue one. He could be in some real danger here, losing if he is the nominee. New York, Kathy Hochul, she actually really did improve in the polling ever since I last checked. She's most likely facing Stefaniak as the Republican nominee, and so far has a pretty stable lead against her. Lawler was probably going to be the better candidate, but it looks like he's unlikely to be the nominee. He's probably running for re-election for the House because Stefaniak's very likely to declare that she's running as of right now. So let's head back to the main map. Right now, I think Hochul's on track to win by about 8 points as of right now. I think she does a little bit better from 2022 into 2026, but still is competitive. Up in New Hampshire, I'm putting this as a safe red state. Kelly Oyette, her approval rating is pretty well, so it's going pretty decent for her right now. I think she's in the high 50s in terms of her approval rating last I checked. She's on track to win by a safe red margin. In Maine, there's so many good Maine Democrats running for governor that I think this is close to safe blue at this point. For now, I'm putting this as likely blue. We don't know who's going to be the real candidate yet. In Ohio with Vivek Ramaswamy, so far, based off all the polling we've seen, he's on track for a pretty sizable victory, and well, not sizable. I would say he's on track for like a 6-point win, just based off who's declared so far for the Democrats. Acton isn't that good. However, Sherrod Brown decides to step in this race. He has a real chance at winning. Same with Tim Ryan. So Democrats need one of these two candidates to run for governor here to really have a shot in Ohio, because Acton, she's just going to lose by a likely Republican margin. And right now I'm assuming she's the nominee because Brown and Ryan have not made up their minds yet on whether they're running. And so far, based off the early polling, Vivek is beating Acton by 5 points. Again, Ohio was won by Trump by 11, so that's something to take into account too. Okay, let's head over to Oregon. This is another likely blue state. Again, the Democratic incumbent in this race, I believe it is Kate Brown. Or no, Tina Kotek. But Tina Kotek, she previously won in 2022. I'll show you the margin. She only won by 3, but that was because of a left-wing spoiler running in this race that split the Democratic vote a bit. But going into 2026, Kotek's approval rating, it's narrowly positive, so we're going to see another close race in Oregon, but I think it's going to be a bit bigger of a margin because it will be a bluer environment, and Kotek's approval rating isn't so negative. It's actually narrowly positive, like I said. So I'm putting that as likely blue. In Minnesota, Tim Walz is likely to run for re-election. So for now, I'm putting this as a likely blue state, similar to the margin he won by last time. And we're going to New Mexico next. And so far, the Democrats have a strong candidate running on their side in Deb Haaland. She's most likely going to be the Democratic nominee. On the Republican side, they really don't have anyone that's really amazing. They have a mayor running, but it probably doesn't really have a chance, honestly. So far, we have no polling out of that race, so we're just making this based off of a educated guess, and I'm going to say that it's likely blue. Let's head over to Kansas next, and so far there hasn't been any strong Democrats that have announced they're running as of right now. We only have a state senator who's announced, so for now I'm putting Kansas as lean Republican, as a Republican flip, because it is a pretty red state after all. Heading over to Pennsylvania. On the Democratic side, we have Josh Shapiro, very popular incumbent governor. His approval rating is in the high 50s, and sometimes it's even 60%. On the Republican side, we have a few candidates expressing some interest here, but I really don't think they have a chance at unseating Shapiro from the governor's mansion. Let's take a look at hypothetical polling. Okay, that's a useless primary poll. 80% undecideds. Why even bother? But so far, there is no polling of the general election. I don't think this race is going to go under 10 points. I think Shapiro's going to win by 13, similar margin to what he won 2022 by, just because he's a very well-liked governor in Pennsylvania. Let's head over to Nevada next. This is a popular Republican governor. However, he is facing Aaron Ford, who is the state's attorney general. I think he has a bit of a shot here. I don't think it's going to be likely Republican as of right now. We don't really have any recent polling of this race either. But for now, for this Nevada race, just because Aaron Ford is the Attorney General, I think he's a strong candidate, and it is going to be a bluer-leaning environment. I'm putting Nevada as lean Republican. While we're next to Arizona, let's head to there. Katie Hobbs has a narrowly positive approval rating in Arizona. She isn't facing primary challenger. She's dodged that, so no one really reputable is running against her. The Republican side, it's most likely to be Andy Biggs as the nominee, but he is a problematic candidate. Did say a lot of right-wing things on just news stations in general or Twitter that I think that could hurt him with the more moderate base of Arizona, especially in midterm elections. A lot of independents turn out here, so I don't think he's going to do amazing with them. We could take a look at the early polling of this race, and so far Hobbs has a narrow lead. She is under 50% though, so I think she's the most vulnerable Democratic incumbent running so far. But for now, I'm putting Arizona as tilt Democratic. Heading over to Georgia, so far we don't really have a lot of strong Democrats running. Stacey Abrams might actually be the nominee here just because the field doesn't look that impressive. If she does run in this field, she's winning the primary. That's bad for Democrats because I think Stacey Abrams would be on track to lose again by a bit more of a narrower margin. But so far, I think this is a Republican advantage in this race. Unless Lucy McBath decides to fully announce her run, she would be able to save the Democrats here and potentially put this as a flip for the Democrats. But right now, I think the Republicans are on track to win in Georgia. And I'm putting this as a lean Republican rating. Going up to Iowa, we have Rob Sand running for governor. He was the only statewide Democrat to win in the red wave in Iowa in 2022. Republican side, it's an open race. It's probably going to be Randy Finstra as the Republican nominee. Just because this is an open race, and the last open race in Iowa was competitive, I am putting this as a lean Republican rating because Rob Sand is a strong Democratic candidate. It's an open race, so anything could happen in an open race. Let's head over to Wisconsin next. It's uncertain whether Tony Evers is going to run for a third term. I'm assuming he most likely will, but we'll see. It would be nice for him to run because then Democrats would have the incumbency advantage, so honestly, they would prefer that. However, if he doesn't run, then it's probably going to go down to tilt blue, just because it is an open race. Let's see anyone reputable running on the Republican side. They got some decent candidates in the waiting here, so this could be a competitive race if it's an open race. But right now, I think Tony Evers is most likely running for re-election as of right now, putting this as lean Democratic in Wisconsin. And usually in off years in Wisconsin, the Democrats have a bit of a turnout advantage. They really turn out in those elections, like we saw in the Supreme Court race. They really turned out hard for the Democratic candidate. So for now, I'm putting this as lean blue. Let's head over to Michigan next. Michigan's interesting. We have a three-way race. Mike Duggan, the mayor of Detroit, is running as an independent candidate. And that could definitely hurt the Democrats. It could hurt their turnout base in Detroit. However, previously, let's take a look in 2022, Whitmer was able to win by 10 points here. So that is a pretty convincing margin. So that means Democrats could have some wiggle room here, even if Duggan splits the vote with them. They still have a shot at winning, and that's what the early polling indicates. They have Duggan getting nearly 20% of the vote, while Jacqueline Benson, she's still narrowly winning. This is going to be a very, very close race, but I think Benson has the narrow advantage. And John James, he's lost statewide in the past twice. I feel like he's going to lose again, just because he's been on a losing streak in terms of statewide runs. While in congressional runs, he's more lucky. He won twice in his congressional district. But I would put Michigan as tilt Democratic as of right now. So the Republicans managed to flip Kansas's governorship, and I think that's about it for them. So there is a few close races on the map here, but this is just how I see them going as of right now. So the Democrats have a net loss in governorships with Kansas, but they managed to flip Virginia in 2025 to keep it about even. But there's a few competitive governor's races on this map that are going to be interesting to watch. I think Michigan, Arizona, and even Iowa would be states to watch out for. We could see Nevada and Kansas shift to likely Republicans, same with Alaska if Patola doesn't decide to run. But that's just how I see the governorships going as of right now. So if you're new to this channel and you enjoy content like this, you should definitely consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it a lot. Other than that, I'll see y'all in the next video.